I was of the era in medical school where your stethoscope came from industry, your textbooks came from industry, your pads and your pens. During my residency is when, sea change, and you wouldn't get anything that was meaningful from industry because industry was tainted and it somehow had impacted your decisions.
I was still a trainee, and I was asked to join the steering committee of a small trial. And I remember the fear. I had it in my mind that industry was the dark side, and that, oh my goodness, I'm getting close to the dark side. Guard up, guard up.
I think perhaps I was taught to be more suspicious of industry than is useful in our profession, because I think the relationship, particularly in cardiology, with industry and academia is really critical and has been part of our ability to innovate fast and well, and it gives our patients huge benefits that we wouldn't get if we did not trust every captain of industry that came along offering to help.
I'm fortunate that I trained at a place that really has a wide exposure to all sorts of different funding mechanisms for research. Government funded, foundationally funded, and industry funded. There's nothing really that says government funding is absolutely good, nor is there anything that says industry funding is absolutely bad.
The young me would say I've turned into Darth Vader. I have literally, oh my goodness, gone all the other way. But let me explain this. I say it proudly. I say it humbly. I basically wanted to start a large heart failure registry across Asia. I learned that they will give a grant to allow investigators to do their own research. I had no idea that industry partners did that. And I was lucky enough to benefit from that. And it has completely changed my career because after being able to do this registry, I could, get to know and have a network across Asia, and I could then turn it into something that became a network for trials and so on. It would not have been possible at all.
If academics don't work with industry, then we don't further the field. We have to do those phase 3 trials. Somebody has to test the new devices.
By, just interacting with people from industry in that first experience, I realized they're human too. They're good people too. They were trying to help patients with new medications and so on. It's all trying to help patients. So okay, we've got something in common there.
One of the things an academic cardiologist brings to the table is integrity. You should never compromise integrity for anything. And that's something people need to be very careful about, regardless of what kind of relationship they're engaging in. As long as you're able to make sure that you are, true to those principles, then I think these relationships are all very, very similar to each other. And that disclosure part is very important.
Disclose, disclose, disclose.
Relationships with industry are clearly important, but anything that's really important, you got to protect. And so it's critically important that you be open, that you be transparent, that you disclose conflicts, and you adhere to policy and procedure.
As long as you've got clear boundaries and you understand what you're doing for them and what's expected of you, and where you would draw the line, I think that can work well. But it's just about thinking about it.
I would not engage in any project where the science does not excite me, first and foremost. I cannot give a talk where the industry tells me exactly what to say and I can't say anything else.
Number one is to look at, for example, the consulting and to ask, is this actually marketing? If it's kind of too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. You're probably doing some promotional marketing.
When talking to pharma reps, I've always thought I have a lot of respect for that person. But if, for example, I'm being offered a stent that hasn't got the data that 3 other stents have, I'm going to keep being polite to that person, but I'm going to continue to use the stents that I know are well proven. And I will be honest with them. I'll say, look, I'm using these stents because of these trials. When the data matches, I'll be happy to reconsider. Showing respect, but respecting the data and the patient's right to have the medicine that is the most well proven is how I try to negotiate that relationship.
So I think I've really, really learned to respect what each party brings. They have a wealth of experience. They've got resources that I just, as an academic, cannot possibly have. There's also a synergism.
We set up a meeting trying to talk about women in cardiology and our underrepresentation, particularly in Australia and New Zealand. And I had been talking with one of our reps about this. And one of our reps said, I'd love to set up a meeting so that you can discuss your paper. We'd had a paper in JACC and one in Circulation, and you can engage with more women who might be interested in getting into cardiology. And that was just what we needed. And it came with no strings attached. And it was a great meeting. It wasn't a huge meeting, but it was a great meeting that was led by us, but organised by the company. And that was a brilliant relationship that, if I had remained suspicious, would never have happened, and was a real opportunity for lots of people.
One of the things I've really enjoyed about having partnerships with industry is really understanding different perspectives on research. Sometimes my industry colleagues have more up-to-date knowledge about how the field is going. Other times it's really about, certain ways of doing research that I've never considered before. There are, both from a content standpoint as well as from a methodologic standpoint, some really great lessons that I've learned from industry colleagues. I think one of the key tips I would have about developing relationships with industry is ask your mentor to connect you. I think that's actually the most effective way to really network well and network effectively.
I'm just so grateful to the then PI of that industry sponsored trial, who just thought that my opinion, because I was kind of really in this HFpEF world and in ECHO, would help. And so he gave me that first taste of it. And that was actually the door, the crack that opened, because then it's I think, as in everything we do, if you do a good job, be enthusiastic, people kind of start saying, oh, she's value add.
2 words: be brave. Go find. There are lots of mentors out there. One of the things I think women tend to think a little bit more about is, well, maybe I should get something under my belt before I start talking to someone. And I would say that while that's a great sentiment, it really does hold you back in terms of being able to network effectively. Relationships with industry are learning experiences.
I've seen it more like a partnership, but with very clear boundaries. And that, I think, is the most critical thing for any young person who wants to be involved in industry. Must remember. Remember where your own boundary ends.
If and when we do it right, I think that's good for the field. And we have to try as hard as possible to do it right. And we have ourselves, as well as our medical editors and our leaders, to watchdog us. Because if we don't watchdog ourselves, someone else will.